Okay, I wanted to show you right now what I have done with the rest of the fleece pretty much. As well as the hands. I have came up with a pattern for the hands and I have traced it clearly onto the foam and cut them out, and I have two sets, 4 pieces all together. And this is, if I'm not mistaken, I keep forgetting, it's a 1/2 inch. So 1/2 inch foam, 2 pieces, because we're going to sandwich them, and I'm going to show you how to put wiring later on the hand so you can have bendable fingers, as well as we're going to sandwich and leave an area unglued for your hand rod device that's going to go in there. I also use the same pattern size on the fleece as I did with the foam, and believe it or not, we're going to be cramming this into this little thing once we sew it all together. We have a neck piece that I cut out, which is basically about, it's usually a rectangle-y shape, depending on how big around you want your neck, and that sort of thing. The thing you need to consider around the neck is the pull. You know, the way that you pull the fabric to give it stretch should go around this way. You don't want the stretch to hold the body and the puppet together, because it'll start sagging. You'll have a great big longer neck, and it will only get longer and longer as the fabric stretches. This way there's not much stretch, so I would be sewing the tube this way so I can fit my hand underneath and up all the way through, and there's again not as much stretch going this way. I do not want it to go this way because there's too much stretch and the puppet will have a long neck, more longer than you wish. The arms, the same rule. You don't want the arms to have a lot of stretch going this way. You want the small stretch this way and the bigger stretch this way, because again, you don't want the arms to get longer and longer or stretch and bounce back and that too at all. So make sure that the stretch is going that way. So we've got everything together. I am planning to sew the tube for the neck, the arms. I'm going to all these will be hand sewn, not hand sewn, sewing machine sewn, all of these. I'm looking at the hands as I say so. So I'll be using a machine to sew all these individuals together. I will be also adding a piece, which I will show you later on, of, I use spandex, but you can use something similar for the bottom to attach to the body. Spandex is just good because it doesn't build up a lot of sweat, and it just feels, you know, comfortable, that sort of stuff. So that's the materials that we have left to put together. Now I've kept scrap materials of the Antron fleece. I never throw out any of this stuff, pieces that I can reuse, because I can use it later on for other puppets, or I'm planning to add ears. So I need some more material to make ears, and I will be using the magic model to develop the ears, let it dry, and then I'm going to glue using the Super 77 can glue right here. I'll be using that to spray over the ears and gluing it, and then if there's any sewing to attach to the head. So that's the materials that I need to use, and that is it. Thank you. Okay, I just wanted to add why I use a sewing machine for these parts, the hands, the arms, the neck. Because number one, it's really hard to get an even stitch on the hand. You can do it, but really, is it worth it? Not really. At the end of the day, the fingers are not looked at like the face is as much. The arms are usually hidden by clothing anyways. The back of the neck is what, you know, where the seam will run, usually covered by hair or other such features as clothing and that will cover up the back part of the neck to some degree. So it's not areas that you need to necessarily hand sew unless there's a particular reason. And why make your life more difficult than it already is, right? So that I wanted to add why I use a sewing machine most of the time for these parts. Just saves time and shouldn't be spending so much energy on trying to hand sew. And like I said, the fingers are very hard to get exact each time because of just because of the way that they are made, trying to get a perfect seam and making sure it's all even and the fingers don't look lopsided is very tricky to do by your hands unless you're very, very experienced at doing it. So there you go. Just wanted to add that to this little part. Thank you.